Hey, everybody. Welcome to Live with Doug. We are not live. I'm recording this. If you've been with us, you know that. And we are in the middle of a short series that I'm calling The Kingdom and the Last Days. Now, if you were with us yesterday, we looked at Daniel chapter 2. Remember that vision of the statue and your head of gold and so on? One of the things we saw there was that the last days, as the Bible describes them, was the time where the kingdom of the God of heaven came to earth and crushed all the other kingdoms. Those last days were the days of the first century when Jesus, the King, came. That's why the New Testament authors will use the term last days, describing their time. We're not in the last days. Those last days are ancient history for us. We are in the time of the kingdom. We are in the time where that stone is growing up into the mountain that's going to fill the whole earth. And it's crushing all the other kingdoms. So that's what we're talking about, the kingdom, the last days. And today we're going to get a little further down in Daniel and look at chapter 7 and see another fascinating vision that I think will be instructive for us today, as well as our understanding of some other passages of Scripture. So let's take a look. Daniel chapter 7 reads like this from the NAS. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel saw a dream and visions in his mind as he lay on his bed, and he wrote the dream down and related the following summary of it. Here's what Daniel said. I was looking in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea. And four great beasts were coming up from the sea, different from one another. So we see fours here, four winds, four beasts. The first was like a lion and had the wings of an eagle. So picture in your mind here this creature that's kind of like a lion, and think about the things that would conjure up, but it has wings like an eagle. I kept looking until its wings were plucked, and it was lifted from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man. A human mind also was given to it. Okay, so there's the first beast, this powerful creature. Then now it's no longer able to fly, but it stands up like a man, and it's given a human mind. And behold, another beast, a second one resembling a bear. It was raised up on one side, and 3 ribs were in its mouth between its teeth, and thus they said to it, "Arise, devour much meat." So the second beast is allowed to go kill and eat. After this, I kept looking, behold, another one, like a leopard, which had on its back 4 wings of a bird. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Again, you see all these 4s. And I kept looking. Actually, I should mention one more thing. Dominion was given to it. Now, we are going to get the interpretation, so we don't have to guess at this. But even in the description that Daniel wrote down, we begin to see something of what these beasts represent. Dominion, death, conquering, dominion. We see those kind of images and phrases throughout here. By the way, if you are having your own visions of the book of Revelation in mind, that's a good thing. John saw very similar creatures and events as Daniel saw. They are both types of apocalyptic literature where the Lord reveals things in images and scenes in the vision that they saw. Daniel gives us a clue, indeed I would say a key, to interpreting Revelation. Beasts represent here conquering, deadly, kingdoms, dominion, as we will see. All right, so there's 3 of the 4. After this, I kept looking in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrifying and extremely strong, and it had large iron teeth. It devoured and crushed and trampled down the remainder with its feet, and it was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Again, you think of Revelation. While I was contemplating the horns, behold, another horn, a little one, came up among them, and 3 of the first horns were pulled out by the roots before it. And behold, this horn possessed eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth uttering great boasts. Okay, so we've had 4 beasts. Daniel, 4 beasts. And we get some description of each of them. Were you with us yesterday? There were also 4 elements of the giant statue that Nebuchadnezzar saw. Remember that? And remember what the lowest part had? It had iron. Its feet or toes or something, I forget now. This 4th beast has, is it teeth like iron? Well, now I've lost it. Anyway, 4 beasts, just like the 4 elements of the statue. There's a reason for that. Okay, so you already probably know where this is going. Now let's look. So he's just seen these 4 beasts come up from the sea, and now look. I kept looking until thrones were set up. Now it's thrones plural. So think of the vision there. There are all these seats of royalty, and as we'll see in a minute, they had another function as well. I kept looking until thrones were set up, and the Ancient of Days took his seat. Or this could be translated, the Ancient One. This person is set apart from all the others, and he took his seat. And notice how Daniel sees him. His vesture was like white snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. Okay, again, if you have the opening chapters of Revelation in mind, there's a reason why Jesus is portrayed there with very similar imagery to this Ancient of Days. However, as we're about to see, the Ancient of Days is not Jesus here. It's not the Son. Okay. Sorry. It's like giving away the punchline already. So Daniel sees, after these 4 beasts, he sees these thrones, and the Ancient of Days takes his seat, and his clothes are white, his hair is like pure wool. And notice his throne. His throne was ablaze with flames. Its wheels were a burning fire. Okay, so the throne this Ancient of Days sits on it's fire, and it's got wheels of fire spinning. What do you think of when you think of fire? It's intimidating, it's scary, it's awesome, all those things. A river of fire was flowing and coming out before him. So lots of fire here. So his throne is fire, the wheels of the throne are fire, and then there's this lake or this stream, well, it's called here a river of fire that flows out from the Ancient of Days. Okay, so do you see this huge area where there are many people on throne, many ruler types on thrones, and then this very unique one, the Ancient of Days, sitting on his throne. He's white, he's pure. He's on a throne of fire with a river of fire. Thousands upon thousands were attending him, and myriads upon myriads were standing before him. What's going on here? What's all of this intense, terrifying majestic scene about. Look what it says. The court sat and the books were opened. So this is a scene of judgment. Right? The imagery is portraying the Ancient of Days and then all these others who are sitting on thrones. And there are books that are going to be opened with records of behavior, of actions, of deeds. And they're going to render judgment based on what is written in these books. Again, so similar to what John saw in what we call the Revelation. All right, so you got to have all this in mind. You got the four beasts, and then he sees this throne room, this judgment setting. You with me? Then I kept looking because of the sound of the boastful words which the horn was speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain and its body was destroyed and given to the burning fire. So, we live in this sci-fi age. We've got amazing graphical capabilities. If you've seen any sci-fi movie in recent, even decades, we can portray some awe-inspiring visuals. Daniel didn't come from that kind of culture. He didn't have that technology. So he sees this vision. These are things unlike anything he's ever seen. And it got his attention. And he sees this one beast with the horn. This horn is boasting. It says he's saying arrogant and boastful things. And it has really captivated Daniel's imagination. And he's wondering, what is it about that beast and that horn? What's going on? And he keeps looking, and that beast was slain, and its body is thrown into that river of fire that's coming out from the throne of the Ancient of Days. Do you see that? I kept looking because of the sound of the boastful words of the horn which the horn was speaking. I kept looking until the beast was slain, that fourth beast, and its body was destroyed and given to the burning fire. So that last beast is destroyed before the Ancient of Days here. As for the rest of the beasts, the previous ones, their dominion was taken away, but an extension of life was granted them for an appointed period of time. So he sees the three beasts, each exercising dominion, rule, kingship, you might say, and their rule was taken away, but their influence continued till this fourth one, this great one that's boasting great things, is finally crushed by before the river of the Ancient of Days. I kept looking in the night visions, and behold, with or on the clouds of heaven, one like a son of man was coming. Let me read that again, especially for those of you who can't see this, who are listening later. I kept looking in the night visions, and behold, upon the clouds of heaven, or with the clouds of heaven, one like a son of man was coming. And he came up to the Ancient of Days and was presented before him. Now, if you know your New Testament, there are some bells and whistles going off as you hear this, right? This is the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. Where is he coming to? Just let that question resonate for a moment. The Son of Man coming in the clouds. Where is he coming to? He's coming to the Ancient of Days, who is seated on the throne of fire in this great throne room. He is not coming to the earth. You see that? Daniel sees the Son of Man coming with the clouds to the Ancient of Days and being presented before him in this heavenly throne room. Now, you may understand why I'm stressing that. Because we read in the New Testament about the Son of Man coming in the clouds, and my guess is most of you have been taught that means he's coming to earth. That's not what it means. We'll see this tomorrow, or actually on Monday. We'll see the Son of Man coming with the clouds that Jesus himself quotes. You have to understand the original vision here. He's coming to the throne room before the Ancient of Days. And to him, that is to the Ancient of Days, was given dominion, glory, and a kingdom. So this Son of Man is coming with the clouds of heaven to the throne room of the Ancient of Days, and the Ancient of Days gives him, well, I'm assuming that, the Son of Man receives dominion, glory, and a kingdom. This scene is the bestowal of the kingdom to the Son of Man. That all the peoples, nations, and men of every language might serve him, the Ancient of Days. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which will not pass away. And his kingdom is one which will not be destroyed. All right, are you following? 4 beasts, each representing dominion or kingdom or rule. That 4th beast is destroyed, and Daniel sees the Son of Man coming to the throne room on the clouds and receiving from the Ancient of Days his own kingdom. And he is now going to rule over all the peoples of the earth. And it's an everlasting dominion which will not pass away, and it won't be destroyed. Do you see the parallels between this vision and Daniel 2, the statue? 4 parts of that giant statue, climaxing in the stone, crushing the statue, that stone growing into a mountain that fills the whole earth, which is the kingdom of Christ. And now in chapter 7, Daniel sees the same thing with a different vision, the 4 beasts representing those same 4 kingdoms, and the kingdom of the Son of Man coming at the time of that 4th beast. As for me, Daniel, my spirit was distressed within me, and the visions in my mind kept alarming me. I approached one of those who were standing by and began asking him the exact meaning of all this. So he told me and made known to me the interpretation of these things. So again, Daniel he's scared. He is distressed, it says. He sees these wild beasts and all this stuff in heaven. He doesn't know what it means, and it's intimidating. It's got his attention. So he asks, and he and now we are given the interpretation. These great beasts, which are 4 in number, are 4 kings who will arise from the earth. But the saints of the highest one will receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, for all ages to come. Notice this word here. The saints of the highest one. Have you ever noticed how Paul, when he writes his letters to Christians in the New Testament, he always addresses them as saints or holy ones? We sometimes theologically say, oh, it's because We are set apart. And that's true. But what if he is self-consciously grabbing this title for the members of the kingdom and trying to explain and reveal to these churches when he's writing, you are the fulfillment of Daniel 7. The saints of the highest one, the holy ones of the highest one, will receive the kingdom and possess the kingdom for all ages to come. Think about that. That makes perfect sense, right? Why he calls us saints. Why he calls the New Testament church saints. Just like Son of Man is Jesus' favorite self-designation, he is communicating, I am the one Daniel saw. Daniel still troubled by this fourth beast. Then I desired to know the exact meaning of the fourth beast, which was different from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, with its teeth of iron. Okay, so it was the teeth of iron. And its claws of bronze, which devoured, crushed, and trampled down the remainder with its feet. And the meaning of the 10 horns that were on the head, and the other horn which came up, and before them 3 of them fell, namely the horn which had the eyes and mouth uttering great boasts, which was larger in appearance than its associates. I kept looking, and the horn was waging war with the saints and overpowering them. Okay, are you following this? Which empire is that fourth beast? Well, the first beast is Babylon, corresponding to the head of gold in Daniel chapter 2. The second beast is the Medo-Persian Empire. The third beast is Greece, which means the fourth beast is the Roman Empire, with all the horns and the one horn boasting great things. And notice what that horn is doing. So this is the horn of the Roman Empire, a king of the Roman Empire, waging war with the saints and overpowering them. So the Roman Empire is going to go to battle with the saints and have some success in, as it says here, overpowering the saints. Until the Ancient of Days came and judgment was passed in favor of the saints of the Holy One, and the time arrived when the saints took possession of the kingdom. If I'm calculating this correctly, then this fourth beast is the Roman Empire. The horn is one of the Roman kings that devastated Christians in the first century, very possibly Nero. But then the Ancient of Days opens the books of the deeds of the Roman empires and judges and renders his verdict in favor of the saints, and they take possession. And the fourth beast, his days are numbered. Thus he said, the fourth beast will be a fourth kingdom on the earth, which will be different from all the other kingdoms, and will devour the whole earth and tread it down and crush it. As for the 10 horns, out of this kingdom 10 kings will arise. Another one will arise after them. He'll be different from the previous ones and will subdue 3 kings. He will speak out against the Most High and wear down the saints of the Highest One. He will intend to make alterations in times and in the law, and they'll be given into his hand for a time, times, and half a time. Very similar language to Revelation. But the court will sit for judgment, and his dominion will be taken away. That's the beast or the horn. Annihilated and destroyed forever. Then the sovereignty, the dominion, the greatness of all the kingdoms under the whole heaven will be given to the people of the saint of the highest one. His kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions will serve and obey him. We just read where Daniel foresees the coming kingdoms and then the coming of the kingdom of Jesus Christ, the Son of Man, and the saints taking possession of it. So we so often think of, at least I do, I have, the kingdom taking place at Jesus' ascension. But this portion of the prophecy seems to be fulfilled at the fall of the Roman Empire. Now, maybe not the ultimate fall, maybe not, it was a long death process. But this seems to me that first century hostility, and maybe beyond, I don't know, where Rome is judged and the saints take possession. Now, we see all of these details and we want to answer the question, who is the horn and what is the time and a half and all that. And that's worth investigating, but don't miss the bigger picture. Daniel was given a preview of what was coming centuries in his future. And as he will be told at the end of Daniel, you're going to lie in the dust and not be around for any of this anyway. So he doesn't know all of the fulfillment of this. And I think we need to be careful and not become skeptics if we can't figure out every nuance of this. The broader purpose of the vision is as clear as can be, to me at least. During the Roman Empire, at some point, they're going to wage war against the saints, the Christians, and then the Ancient of Days is going to rule against them, and the power of that fourth beast is going to be removed, and the saints are going to take the kingdom. I believe that happened in the first century or so, which, just like we saw in Daniel 2, means the kingdom is now, and the saints are taking possession of it, and we're going to take over the earth. We're going to rule. We are ruling. And this kingdom will never end. This is good news and hopeful as we enter the year of our Lord Jesus Christ, 2024. All right, well, chew on that. We'll come back on Monday and see what Jesus had to say about all this. God bless.